The ECOFIN main priorities, so the relaunch of the economy and the implementation of the recovery plan for Europe is really the main priority. Then the strengthening of the economic and monetary union, and finally we have a number of challenges and we have a number of key legislative initiatives related to the digital and green transitions that will have their momentum during the Portuguese presidency. A high-level conference in June that we call the Recovery Summit. It's going to be a ministerial level conference, and we hope that at the moment we have a significant number of recovery plans already approved by the member states.
It's a substantial program, and I would say it's even not only substantial, but it's also challenging. And this means that you are not only before challenges, but also the banking industry and also the savings banks industry also has a lot of challenges to face. And above those challenges that were normal, we have now also the COVID-19, which is also above all those challenges. Regarding the resilience and the recovery, I would say we welcome as ESBG the extraordinary measures that were already introduced by the European and international authorities. We believe that in order to allow a smooth continuation of the bank's financing activities, and particularly towards the SMEs and households, EU institutions should implement all the necessary measures such as temporary capital and operational relief, a complete reassessment of the implementation timeline of existing and upcoming legislations, and in general, more flexibility to also meet banks' needs through the crisis.
Regarding EDIS, what is the plan of the Portuguese presidency in this regard?
It's sometimes a difficult discussion between the different member states because of the different characteristics of the banking system in each of the countries. So we need to, for us to progress, we need to be aware of these differences to try to make bridges. So,
what is your view in relation to the importance of a capital market union for integrating European banking markets?
I am pleased to see that there is a shared understanding now, and we insisted for a long time on that there is a shared understanding about the need to develop a deeper CMU next to bank lending. And not only, you should not expect everything, especially SMEs from the capital markets. Bank lending remains important.
Which elements of a capital markets union do you consider important to create a fully fledged banking union?
I would call it a pragmatic view on EDIS, on a hybrid model, which would consider as a priority the point of liquidity. And also I would note, and here I would start to address your question on capital markets union, I would note his point on harmonization of insolvency law, which is of high importance, I would say, for the capital markets union, although it's a political difficult point to progress.
Insolvency laws are a very, very tricky field to harmonize, yeah. But it's quite important for a fully fledged capital market union, also banking union, to have some work and harmonization in this regard. What do you think of the proposal, which has been discussed at various other occasions already, to develop something specific and unique only for really European players? So, for example, for the banks supervised by the ECB.
I would say that I would consider favorably an approach which should consider harmonization in limited fields, also in banking. This could be the correct way to address what several players and stakeholders have been commenting as the problem of small and medium dimension banks.
Secondary markets of NPLs, I think that there is a great expectation as regards the execution of this action plan by the Commission. So as I mentioned, it is to be presented in the ECOFIN. So there is distrust in some countries that we feel about, the NPL sales and what are going to be the profits that are going to be made after that by the specialized players.
And we had recently the EBI Policy Conference where also Valdis Dombrovskis was speaking about this topic, and the point very clearly is that this recovery fund was very, very controversial. So I guess the usage of these funds will be very scrutinized, and I guess should be scrutinized properly. What is your idea how this should be done, and how essentially shall Europe or the European Commission introduce, let's say, the necessary safeguards that the supply side reforms in all the European countries in order to make them more competitive are going to be implemented properly?
So from our point of view, this is something which is very well structured and very well organized, so that there is a strong link between the way the recovery plans are going to be structured and executed, and the European semester, which is the process that monitors developments, the macroeconomic developments, as well as the way the countries are executing precisely the country-specific recommendations, what we call the CSRs.